Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Gold IRA Blueprint Podcast. We're doing a deep dive today into something that might surprise you. It's how gold IRAs can play a unique role in business succession planning. Now, when I think about passing on a business, I kind of think of it as just handing over the keys. But, there's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, there really is. We often focus on just the financial parts of succession, but making sure the business itself thrives in the next generation. Well, that's where the real challenge is, and gold IRAs can actually help with that.
Okay, so I'll admit, when I first heard that, I was pretty skeptical. But the source material that we have really lays out a compelling case.
It really does. And for any business owners listening, especially those who are thinking about their long-term plans, this could be a game changer. But before we get into the specifics, if you're interested in learning more about gold IRAs, especially how to choose the right company for you, head over to goldirablueprint.com/exclusive. There you can find a free checklist that'll help guide you through the process.
Great tip. Now let's get into this. Why gold? Why would it be a good fit for business succession?
Well, the source material really boils down the why of gold to three key advantages: wealth preservation, tax benefits, and then protecting that all-important business legacy. And those can be really valuable advantages for business owners.
Okay, let's break those down, starting with wealth preservation. Why is gold a good choice for that?
Well, think of it this way. You spent years building your business. You've been navigating all the economic ups and downs. Now imagine passing that business on to your heirs during a time of high inflation. The value of their inheritance could really be significantly eroded, leaving them with a lot less buying power to actually keep the business going.
It's like trying to hand them a toolbox with rusty tools. They wouldn't be able to build much with that, would they?
Exactly. Gold, on the other hand, has historically acted as a hedge against inflation. It's like a safe harbor during those economic storms, helping to preserve the value of your assets even when the financial seas get rough. It helps make sure that your heirs have the resources they need to kind of weather those storms and, keep the business going.
So it's not just about passing on wealth. It's about passing on wealth that keeps its value, wealth that can actually be used to support the business going forward. That makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. And that sense of security is crucial for both you and your heirs. Now let's move on to tax advantages. This is where gold IRAs can get really interesting, especially for high net worth individuals.
Yeah, taxes are always a big consideration, especially when you're dealing with a significant estate. What's the story with gold IRAs?
Well, for starters, gold IRAs offer tax-deferred growth. This means that you're not paying taxes on any of your gains until you actually withdraw that money. Think of it like planting a seed. It takes time for it to grow into a tree. And you don't harvest that fruit until it's ripe. With a gold IRA, you're really letting those gains grow tax-free until you're ready to harvest them later in retirement.
That's a great analogy. I'm guessing that this can be a big advantage when it comes to estate taxes as well.
It can. Remember that estate tax we talked about earlier, that 40% for estates over 12.92 million in 2025? Well, having a portion of your assets in a gold IRA can potentially reduce that tax burden, meaning more of your hard-earned wealth goes to your loved ones instead of to the IRS.
So it's not just about protecting the value of the assets themselves, but also about minimizing taxes, so more of that value actually gets passed on to your heirs.
Exactly. You're thinking like a savvy business owner now. That brings us to the third advantage, protecting your business legacy. This is often a top concern for business owners. They've poured their heart and soul into building something. They want to see it continue to thrive after they're gone. It's more than just money. It's their life's work.
Absolutely. So how can a gold IRA help with that?
Well, let's imagine a scenario. Estate taxes are due, but the heirs don't have enough liquid assets to cover them. They might be forced to sell off parts of the business, and that could jeopardize its future, undermining everything that you worked so hard to build. It's a nightmare scenario for any business owner.
It is. No one wants to see their life's work dismantled just to cover taxes.
Right. But a gold IRA can act as a buffer in this situation. It can provide heirs with easier access to liquid assets, allowing them to cover those estate taxes without having to dismantle the business.
So it's like having a safety net to make sure the business can continue to operate smoothly, even if there are financial hurdles to overcome.
Precisely.
Oh.
And that's a powerful advantage for any business owner, for anyone looking to protect their legacy and ensure the continuity of their hard work.
This is all incredibly valuable information. I'm already starting to see how a gold IRA can fit into that bigger picture of succession planning.
It really is about the bigger picture. And our source material does a great job of comparing gold IRAs to other common tools. It's almost like a cheat sheet for listeners.
I love a good comparison. What other tools are we talking about here?
Well, the source highlights traditional investment accounts and life insurance, really lays out how each stacks up against a gold IRA in terms of, those key benefits that we've been talking about.
That's perfect, because I think our listeners would really benefit from a clear breakdown of those comparisons.
Absolutely. So let's start with wealth preservation. We've already talked about how gold IRAs can be a really strong hedge against inflation and market volatility. But with traditional investment accounts, your wealth is directly tied to the performance of the stock market. So if the market takes a downturn, so does your portfolio.
So it's like putting all your eggs in one basket, whereas gold can offer more diversification and stability.
Exactly. And while life insurance can provide a death benefit, it's not designed to preserve the value of your assets over time, in the same way that gold can.
Okay, that makes sense. So in terms of wealth preservation, especially during times of economic uncertainty, gold IRAs seem to have an advantage.
That's right. Now let's look at tax benefits. Remember, gold IRAs offer that tax-deferred growth, meaning you don't pay taxes on your gains until you withdraw the money. And as we discussed, they can potentially reduce your estate tax burden, leaving more of your wealth for your heirs. Traditional investment accounts, on the other hand, are subject to capital gains taxes whenever you sell an asset for a profit.
So with traditional investments, you're paying taxes along the way, whereas with the gold IRA, you're deferring those taxes to a later date.
Exactly. And while life insurance death benefits are generally tax-free, the premiums that you pay for that insurance are not deductible. So there's a bit of a trade-off there.
It seems like both gold IRAs and life insurance each offer unique tax advantages. And, choosing the right one really depends on individual circumstances and goals.
Exactly. It's about finding the right fit for your specific situation. Now, when it comes to liquidity, traditional investment accounts tend to have the upper hand. Cash and stocks are relatively easy to convert to cash when you need them.
Yeah, that makes sense. You can't really walk into a store and pay with a gold bar.
Not usually, no. Life insurance policies can also be liquidated, but there may be penalties involved, and the process might not be as straightforward.
So if you need quick access to cash, a traditional investment account might be a more suitable option.
It's a good point to consider. However, remember that we're talking about business succession planning,
Right.
which often involves a longer-term perspective. And speaking of the long term, let's talk about the ease of transferring assets to heirs. This is where gold IRAs can really shine, when they're properly integrated into your estate plan.
I'm curious to hear more about that.
Well, by including a gold IRA in a trust, you can designate beneficiaries directly. This can really help your heirs avoid probate, which can be a very time-consuming and potentially costly legal process, for settling an estate. Think of probate as the legal system double-checking everything in your will, making sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. It can tie up your heirs in court and legal fees for months, potentially hindering a smooth business transition.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun, especially when you're also trying to navigate the transition of the business itself.
Exactly. A gold IRA placed within a trust can help avoid that whole scenario, making the transfer of assets much smoother. With traditional investment accounts, those assets would typically go through probate, adding complexity and potential delays.
So it sounds like gold IRAs offer a more streamlined approach, potentially saving time and money and stress for your heirs, during a time that's likely already emotionally challenging.
That's a great way to put it. And while life insurance policies have beneficiary designations, they're often limited in scope, whereas a gold IRA can be a more versatile tool in this regard.
This is all starting to paint a very clear picture of how a gold IRA can fit into a comprehensive business succession plan.
It really is. And this whole discussion reinforces the importance of seeking expert advice. When it comes to business succession planning, there are so many nuances to consider, and what works for one person might not work for another.
Yeah, it's like navigating a complex maze. You might find your way out eventually, but it's going to be a lot easier and less stressful with a guide.
I couldn't agree more. A knowledgeable guide can help you navigate all those twists and turns, ensuring that your plan is tailored to your specific needs and goals. And speaking of guides, for our listeners who are interested in learning more about gold IRAs, especially how to choose the right company, remember to check out that free checklist at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive. It's a valuable resource that can really set you on the right path.
Absolutely. We want to make sure you have all the tools you need to make informed decisions. Now, I know we've covered a lot of ground here, But I want to circle back to the big picture for a moment. What are some of the key takeaways that our listeners should really remember from our discussion today?
I think one of the most important takeaways is that business succession planning is not something to be taken lightly. It's a complex process with far-reaching implications for both you and your heirs.
Absolutely. It's about more than just passing on wealth. It's about ensuring the continuity of your life's work and securing the future of your loved ones and the people who really depend on your business.
Yeah, it's about making sure the business that you've poured your heart and soul into can continue to thrive and make a positive impact for years to come.
Exactly. And another takeaway is that gold IRAs can be a powerful tool in this process. They offer potential advantages in terms of wealth preservation, tax benefits, and legacy protection, as we've discussed.
Yeah, and it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. It's important to really consider your individual needs and goals and to work with an experienced professional to develop a plan that's right for you.
Absolutely. And remember, no investment is without risk. It's crucial to understand the nuances of gold IRAs, including, potential fees and liquidity considerations before making any decisions. That's why it's so important to do your research and consult with experts who can guide you through that process.
Yeah, speaking of research, our listeners can find a really helpful guide on our website at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive. There you can download a free checklist to help you choose the right gold IRA company. It's a great resource to get you started.
It is. And as we kind of wrap up our deep dive today, I'm struck by a thought that wasn't explicitly mentioned in our source material, but seems really relevant to our conversation.
Oh, I'm all ears. I love those aha moments. What's on your mind?
We've talked a lot about the financial and legal aspects of succession planning, which are definitely crucial. But I think it's equally important to consider the human element.
What do you mean by that?
I'm talking about communication, preparation, and mentorship. It's one thing to have a legally sound plan in place, but it's another thing entirely to ensure a smooth transition of leadership knowledge and values.
Oh, that's such a good point. It's not just about passing on assets. It's about passing on the skills and the insights, the culture, the vision that have really made the business successful.
Precisely. It's about preparing the next generation to not just inherit the business, but to lead it into the future with confidence and competence. And that requires, open communication, ongoing mentorship, and a willingness to share the reins gradually, allowing your successors to really learn and grow.
That's a powerful message to end on. It's a reminder that business succession planning is about more than just dollars and cents. It's about legacy. It's about family. And it's about empowering the next generation to carry the torch and continue building upon the foundation that you've laid.
Well said. It's about ensuring that the business you've worked so hard to build continues to thrive and make a positive impact for generations to come.
This has been a really insightful deep dive. I think we've covered a lot of ground. From the challenges of business succession to the potential benefits of gold IRAs, the importance of IRS compliance, the need for expert guidance, and even that often overlooked human element of the transition.
It has been a pleasure, and I hope our listeners have gained some valuable insights from this episode that they can apply to their own succession planning journeys.
And for those who are ready to take the next step, remember to visit goldirablueprint.com/exclusive for that free checklist on choosing the right gold IRA company. It's a great resource to help you get started on the right foot.
Absolutely. And remember, the future of your business is worth planning for. Take the time to explore your options, seek expert advice, and make informed decisions that will protect your legacy and set your heirs up for success.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll